What is up, guys? Electric Cactus here. Thank you so much for stopping by, and today we are going to be taking a shocking new addition to Destiny 2 via Beyond Light, the CLOUDSTRIKE exotic sniper rifle, through a real challenge. We're not playing a couple Crucible games, instead we have a full fire team, everyone utilizing this weapon, and we're taking it through the entirety of the largest raid in Destiny 2 history, Last Wish, to see how it really performs in an endgame challenge. And so, let's get started. Alright, now first things first, let's take a look at this weapon's perks. Intrinsically, it has Mortal Polarity. Precision final blows generate a lightning bolt at the target's location, so kind of better Firefly. Then we have another unique trait here with Stormbringer. Rapid precision hits create a lightning storm at the point of impact. So let's find out how that performs in the first encounter against Kalli. So, within this encounter, the first part has you just defend your plate from a bunch of adds, and if you do have some ammo to spare, the CLOUDSTRIKE, when you get a headshot against one of those thralls, is fantastic because it's going to kill every other nearby thrall, so you can easily get 3 or 4 kills with a single shot, and that's nothing to scoff at. Of course, the thralls teleport, it's a little bit close range, you gotta be, quick scoping them pretty efficiently. But moving on to the actual boss fight, this is where that second trait comes into effect, because as it turns out with the CLOUDSTRIKE, if you get 3 precision shots back to back to back, then you essentially create a storm grenade, like a warlock storm grenade, and you'll see a big animation for it. It'll come down and inflict a certain amount of damage, and that amount of damage is not bad actually. However, if you see us in the background gameplay, you will notice that we're struggling a little bit, and in fact we don't end up getting the one phase. But there's a reason for this, and it's because Kalli is wailing her head back and forth and side to side as she's being shot. So it's actually really hard to consistently land those headshots, especially when you're in the middle of the arena. So we gave up on a tiny bit of a damage multiplier because she does have more damage than usual if you hit her in the head, and we had one person switch to Divinity, and then that changed everything. As you can see, you can actually shoot this 140 RPM sniper at 140 RPM when you have a Divinity, and you are just going off against Kalli, and the difference is staggering. We nearly get to half of her health in a single portion of this damage phase, and we easily get the one phase. Now this is a little bit of a thirsty boy, so we did have to put on some special ammo finishers as well, but Divinity against Kalli is absolutely the way to go. And with that combo, this thing was fantastic. It is a 140 sniper, which is already one of the best archetypes for just pure damage output, and then it's gaining a significant damage increase because of those extra lightning strikes, and you get 2 per magazine. So overall, this was a good weapon. I'm gonna give it here a 7.5 out of 10. It would get higher, but it really does require that Divinity to make the most of it. Alright, but moving on from there, we have the second encounter against Shuro Chi, and here we gotta get 1/6 of her health down or the entire team wipes. Can the CLOUDSTRIKE accomplish this? And keep in mind, we're switching off the Divinity. Everyone's got CLOUDSTRIKes here, but Shuro Chi doesn't move, and as you can see, that results in some easy headshots and an easy damage threshold reached. Yeah, Shuro Chi gets absolutely melted by this thing. If everyone shoots just one single magazine, probably not even, like 6 rounds, 5 rounds from their magazine, you will reach that damage threshold, and that is pretty significant. But not only is it great against Shuro Chi herself, but it's also good against the absolutely massive amount of adds that also spawn here. Again, you're gonna have to be, pretty good with the shot, but if you can make those sniper shots, man, you can hit one thrall in a group of guys and kill all of them. You can kill one knight and destroy all nearby enemies, and it is really satisfying to get those, 4-man kills for just a single shot. So as a result, super good against the boss and quite good against the adds, if not a little skill intensive. And therefore, in this encounter, I'm going to give it an easy 8 out of 10. Very good weapon. However, it's time to move on from there to the Morgeth encounter, and here, obviously, we going for that one phase. Now, like the other encounters, you are going to have to deal with adds, but in Morgeth, it is perfect for this weapon, because the adds spawn in these few select places over and over again, and they spawn close enough together that just one single shot can destroy all of the enemies that spawn in that area. Like, you literally aim down sights and camp like you're playing Call of Duty Modern Warfare, and you just wait for them to spawn, and as soon as you see that headshot, you shoot, and then they're all dead. That is pretty darn sweet. Now, against the Eyes of Riven and those more powerful enemies, it does struggle a little bit there, especially because they are going to be flailing around a little bit harder to hit, but it is kind of nice that if you can get, one of those shots on a thrall, you'll damage and rip the shield away from those Eyes of Riven, and you can just run up and get an easy kill. But the actual damage against Morgeth, as you can see, it's pretty good there too. Kind of hard to see the actual storm effect caused when you're aimed down sights, so you'll see me unaim down sights and start hip firing a bit to try to actually see what's going on. Maybe wasn't the best for DPS, but I certainly hit enough rounds because Morgeth's crit is massive that we were still able to get the easy one phase. However, if you notice, we did have a little bit of ammo concerns. We were just at the cusp of all running out of ammo when we did get that one phase. So we cut it a little close, but at the end of the day, the DPS is pretty darn good here. So in this encounter, I'm going to give it another 8 out of 10. Great weapon so far. But moving on from there, we have the Vault encounter, and I always say that this is one of the most interesting ones because it simulates what playing Destiny 2 most of the time is like, killing a bunch of adds and then killing some little mini bosses in the form of the knights every so often. So against those adds, just like usual, it's predictably fantastic. You're gonna have to hit some pretty cracked shots, and of course the Taken guys are really twitchy to say the least, so that can be annoying to hit those guys, but when you do, it does really help that a multi-kill is almost guaranteed if enemies are even remotely close together. Now against the knights, this actually surprised me as to just how efficient it was at killing these guys. One magazine can easily kill a knight if you hit all headshots. And another thing that really doesn't come up that much in the other encounters but was very relevant here is that when you get that triple precision shot trigger and spawn the storm, not only is it just doing more damage to that one target, but it hurts any enemies nearby. So quite often, when I'm attacking the knights and I trigger that storm, I also kill all the thralls, all the little red bars around that knight. And that is awesome. So I'm getting more DPS against the knight and haphazardly killing all the nearby enemies. That's just a really good scenario. But of course, landing 7 headshots in a row against a knight, yeah, it's cool and yeah, it kills them fast, but it would be a lot easier to just use a sword or use a shotgun. Wouldn't be as cool though. But still, it impressed me in this encounter, and if you're used to using a sniper at closer ranges, you might really enjoy using this thing, so I'm gonna give it another 8 out of 10. Honestly, it's easier to use than the Lament because of its trash tracking, but that's a whole nother story. Moving on from there, we have the big daddy of damage phases against Riven, and we going for that cheese. Just how much damage can this thing do? And this came in with a pretty big caveat, and that caveat being everyone kind of thinking, oh my goodness, if it triggers a storm on Riven, will that instantly pop all the eyes? Very possible, actually. But as it turns out, and as you can see, it doesn't inflict a ton of damage. Now, you're likely thinking, wait a minute, where are the storms? I see you shooting Riven, but I don't see any storm animation. Well, if I zoom out here, you can see that the storm is actually kind of spawning underneath Riven, so it's not getting any sort of extra precision damage. It is thankfully not touching her eyes, which we were, again, very worried about, but that means that it's getting a lot less damage than usual, and as you can see from these damage numbers, reaching around, pretty much a maximum of 200,000 is just nowhere near enough to one phase Riven. And therefore, in this encounter, it's gonna get like a 5 out of 10. It is just an average weapon against Riven. But moving on from there, we have one more encounter, the Queen's Walk. And here, it's kind of a mixed bag. In some ways, it's pretty darn good because you can often get some quick snipes on enemies along your path, but if you get teleported in, the problem there is that it's a little hectic to be lining up sniper shots against thralls, right? So that is kind of the issue when you get teleported inside. Even though it can take down knights pretty quickly, you'd much rather have a shotgun or a sword in that scenario. So it's okay down below, it's decent up top, therefore I'm gonna give it here a 7 out of 10. Definitely above average, but nothing too insane. And so that comes to the final rating. How did this weapon do overall? Well, it is a pretty darn good weapon. It is basically a sniper rifle that out DPS's normal sniper rifles. I do wonder if it could really compete with some of the weapons out there like the Supremacy and the Aikilo sniper rifles, other rapid-fire frame snipers with their own versions of damage increasing perks, but also those have triple tap or 4th times the charm. I think that's the thing missing from this weapon to really give it a huge amount of DPS. But still, overall, a good weapon. I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10. And that concludes the video. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, found it informative, and if you did, please remember to help me out by simply rating and especially sharing this video. If you guys want to see more Destiny 2 content similar to this, don't be afraid to slap that subscribe button. If you want to get in touch with me and keep up to date with the latest channel activity, the best way is to follow me on Twitter at RickKakis. That's linked in the description down below. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good day.